The Conservative Party seems to be in a bit of a pickle at the moment. How serious is it for you? Is it a storm in a teacup, or actually is it a bit worrying?
Well, I think what we saw last week was incredibly frustrating. As a backbencher, I think the government got their position completely wrong on this. I want to be absolutely clear on that. You know, I feel that actually to confuse an individual case with trying to change the standards was completely the wrong move for the government to have taken, and that was something that I absolutely did not support. And
you didn't vote in that very controversial vote. You didn't take part. Why not?
Well, I was on a pre-arranged parliamentary visit to NATO's Air Command in Germany, actually, that had been in the diary for several weeks. So I wasn't able to vote, but I've been very clear to my constituents that have contacted me on this that had I been there to vote, I would have voted against the government's position. It was a three-line whip. I didn't agree with the position that the government was taking last week, and I've been quite clear in voting against that.
Now, MPs, you talk to each other, you hang out in the tea rooms, the bars. Just give... how representative are you, basically? You've been very strong on this, very clear. You would have voted against it. Were you not on a pre-arranged trip? You sound reasonably angry, actually, with the party.
Well, I mean, every MP's got the ability to come to their own conclusions on how they vote. I do think that last week was frustrating. It wasn't a piece of policy that the government should be focusing on. There's loads going through the agenda at the moment. COPs there, health. So for something like last week to sort of get in the way of what we should all be doing as MPs was really frustrating, particularly when the government was asking us to take a certain position on that. I don't think that they should have done that, and that's why I'm quite clear in my view that had I been there, not been on that pre-arranged parliamentary visit visiting NATO last week, that I would have absolutely have taken that line of voting against the government.
You've been very clear about that. It's nice to get a very clear answer from a politician. The Labour leader, Keir Starmer, says the Prime Minister should apologise. Would you like an apology?
Well, I mean, I think we've obviously got the opportunity of an emergency debate this afternoon where all MPs will have the ability to raise their concerns as they want, and that gives plenty of opportunity for the government to respond. I know that Steve Barclay, as the Secretary of State in charge of the Cabinet Office, is responding to that debate. I think that's absolutely the right individual to be doing that. It's a Cabinet Office issue, and we've obviously saw the chair of the Standards Committee not actually wanting the PM to be involved in part of that debate, and I actually think that's the right position, because this is a debate that all MPs can get involved with, and we've got the government responding to that.
And new rules could be on the horizon. It is reported that the Speaker is looking at that. It's mooted that no MP should have a paid consultancy job on the side. I mean, it's hard to believe that you can, really, at the moment, but would you welcome something like that?
Well, anything that leads to more transparency, more openness within the system has got to be welcomed. I am a backbench Conservative MP working incredibly hard for my seat in Keighley. I don't know how anyone has time to do anything else. It's very much a full-time job as far as I'm concerned. And by working hard for my constituents, that's what I end up doing as a full-time Member of Parliament.